KP Zlin Z-126 over Europe in 1:72 scale, sporting a beautiful artwork by Carlos Alonso. This is an Austrian Luftwaffe training airplane flying over the Alps, so quite a nice scene there. On the back it is shown which schemes are included in the box: the Austrian, Swiss and the Czech one. The decals are only for the minor markings, not for the stripes and so on the wings. Also, the KP has not included the paint codes to paint these schemes, just generic names, so there's further research needed in order to paint it in that color. And in the insides are the contents. So everything is packed in one bag. And the clear parts are packed separately. So let's take a look at the instructions first. This time they come in color, A5 format. There's a little history about the plane, and also the color codes are provided for Agama and Hambrol. On the inside there are a few tips on how to make your model. There is a part layout, so it has 2 spruce in gray and 1 transparent for the canopy. Here on the next page the instructions start as usual. For 99% that would be the cockpit. They tell how to paint the control panel, then the seats, then the minor details inside the cockpit, and then the fuselage comes together. And then they marked here which parts are not used. They are for other versions. And yeah, the front of the engine comes here. And on the last page they tell to glue the fuselage together. There are some additional parts here. Those should be the control panels, the control instrument panels, then the landing gear, and yeah, all the wings and controlling surfaces come together. And here they show the front view, telling how the angle should be, but no information on how big that angle should be. And this should be the last step. As they do multiple boxes with different schemes on the same airplane, I like the way they recycle this common instruction for all the boxes, which I find nice. But that means you have to keep the box until you're finished, because only on the back you can see the painting instructions. A small sheet of decals, as said, not many stripes are provided. I think this is only for the check on the fuselage, but otherwise the markings seems pretty fine printed, all in register. There are also seat belts included. The carrier film overflows a little bit too much, but hopefully that won't make any silvering problems or similar in the end. They also include the name of the kit, so if there's a display, this can also be added to that. Now let's take a look on the first sprue, which contains the wings, the fuselage, the engine, the props, and some parts of the cockpit. The surface seems rather nice, so there are also some riveted parts here, which seems okay. But on this sprue I cannot see any flashing, so it's a perfectly molded sprue. So even the instrument panel has minor details. Also the cockpit floor has a lot of details, which is nice. And let's see, the inside of the fuselage also has a nice amount of detail, so at least for my taste, no scratch building or aftermarket is needed here. I also don't see any locator pin marks in unwanted places, so there is no need to correct any of them. As shown in the instruction, they provide parts for a few versions of this airplane. The second sprue, on the other hand, has some flashing, so it's not that perfect as the first one. Maybe it needs a little bit of polishing, but the flash should be easy to remove. Maybe not so much on the small parts, but at least on the fuselage, even the canvas surfaces and the metal surfaces are presented nice. And lastly, there is the canopy in a separate bag. I like when manufacturers do that, because this way it doesn't come scratched, doesn't need any polishing. So as far canopies goes, this seems perfect. Maybe a little bit of flashing on the end, but that's quite common for the clear plastic. Let's see how it performs on the instructions. So pretty sharp, not perfect, but not bad either, and it's not that thick, so I think for this scale this doesn't get any better, especially for a short run kit. I don't see any information provided here for aftermarket on the instructions, but seeing the details on the sprues, it's not needed, and this kind of canopy should not be that complicated to mask. I am sure there are aftermarket masks by other manufacturers for this, for sure. And that would be it. Quite a nice little plane. I will be going for the Swiss version because I find it really interesting and challenging to do in aluminum color, because the metal parts and the canvas should have a slight contrast, so not everything is painted the same. That was it. See you in the next one.